What's happening, y'all? You already know what it is. It's man Samusa. Hope you guys are doing well. Mr. Pharaoh. I'm sending out positive vibes to y'all, eternal life vibes. Hoping y'all wake up and hoping y'all get connected within that path to waking up, get connected to truth and logic. And on that note, we bringing in some wavy shit right now. We gonna bring in some wavy things. So I'm gonna take this time to speak about something that I discovered. To say anybody creates anything is very subjectable. Um, Nothing is really new under the sun. Something I did discover or put together, which is really, and I put a label on it, and it's called Wavenomics. And before I take the time to, really go deep in this, I want to kind of express the narrative of opening the wave to Wavenomics. It's my purpose to utilize this and to give this wave out and this awareness for the purpose of the to help make everything and even push it in the proper way and degree forward. And that's everything. And the label of Wavenomics is to help give as it will be more understood and overstood when I speak more further on it. Will help take that conscious narrative and be able to third personally kind of view the perspective of what we are dealing with on a physical level. And there's nothing entirely where someone can throw in pseudo. It's very based off analysis, and I'm about to explain it in a second. And I would like for this is just shrouded in positive vibes, and of course I would like to be the one to be known for opening the gate so they can support everything that I would like to create further down my wave out of as a result of a good heart, a good soul, and good spirit. Someone that just has their head in the right place, has their head in the right mink place. Mink is Kemetic for good. All right. Wavenomics. Now, before everybody think that this is just like, y'all might think that this is just like some QQ to some like phonetic that or slang that maybe Max B will flow with. Maybe I'm trying to take the word and then finesse it in a way so it kind of makes style out of something in the Max B format. Even though I kind of am. Ow. Free Max B. It's not really like, when I say wavy, Max B is smart. When I say wavy, it's like almost like we on point right then when we just naturally say certain things. So wavy is in fact exactly what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? Like, it's a wave, for real. And I'm about to explain it right now. Got some things, not a lot, and eventually when I'm done with like just explaining the definition, I'm gonna just start freestyling to kind of express the narrative of it and try to do it under 10 minutes. All right, so close my window. I'm like dressing underclothes. My feet starting to get cold. I was smoking. All right. So yeah, I don't even like smelling mad weed in here either myself, because that shit is strong for no reason. I just like to get the effect and keep it moving. All right, so the definition of wave. I looked it up. I want to get the actual definition of wave. So besides the definitions of wave that Google gave about, either talking about an ocean current, which is a long body of water curling into an arch form, yada, 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 or just the verb of the gesture of like waving to somebody. It starts to get more in depth of the idea of, the connecting to the concept and the geometry of the wave and its definition from a physics perspective. And it says a lot of things, but That's pretty complex. I get what it's saying because it also has oscillation, which is just a better way to kind of say it. But one thing that these two last ones, a single curve in the course of a wave, a variation of electromagnetic field in the propagation is a propagation, yeah, of light or other radiation through a medium or vacuum. So it's kind of like oscillation, like your speaker oscillates like at a certain frequency. So like basically when I'm talking right now, I'm vibrating the air. So that kind of vibrates the air and that kind of brings a wave of vibration. That whole aspect is like a forward motion of a wave. So nomics. Nomics is a suffix. And I guess I got the idea of wavenomics through economics. Because economics is kind of the idea of currency. So but it would be the law of echo, law of currency, and echo means I think what does it mean like that's not important. I forget what it means, but I want to save time. But like, it kind of like is meant to dwell in that same concept of currency. So basically, um, it's from a Greek word meaning law. And the Greek word I think was nomos. So it's the law of anything that is the prefix. So it's the law of anything that So wave law, basically. So this really sounds like some Max Biggerville shit, but I'm trying to make something really clear and like expose something here. And I'm about to get into it. It's gonna be a lot of videos, by the way. So my definition of wavenomics, or like those two words that don't exist in the dictionary yet, together, the study of and or use of the awareness and measure of the narrative known as cause and effect, as a philosophy, principle/law, science, and submission that is inevitable. So it's like when I'm saying submission, right? I'm saying we are subdued like this is part of nature. It's a natural narrative of nature that I'm basically noticing and kind of opening up, right? By taking a step back and kind of analyzing it as its narrative. So everything is wavenomics. So, you know, everything is wavenomics. For example, with me just explaining my definition, some people may kind of connect this to something else and say, okay, this already exists in this form, or this already exists maybe in this esoteric way, or this might have a form in physics, or it might exist somewhere. But the difference that I know those have, and this is the basic thing that is subjectified to, and that's the system has a way of separating everything. Nothing is really connected. Everything is separated. Even in school, they separated everything, even though everything is kind of math and science is one and the same thing. It's really just math, science, and history. You know, it's really the only three subjects that really you can be taught in theory, and they start dwelling and expanding off of each other. Um, History is just the previous in the timeline. So besides gymnasium and all that. So basically, what makes this different is that it kind of considers that, and it now kind of expands into this narrative that philosophy, science, anything that deals with the perspective of moving forward and even the consideration of moving back. So that was the purpose of me, and really this video is done, but that's the purpose of of Wavenomics. That's what I wanted to talk about. That's why I want to kind of put the label. It's like that. So what am I also want to talk about? Because I'm gonna do a lot of videos on this. But the idea is to basically expose that because it's a kind of thinking that is inquired as a result of just considering, just anybody that sits and watches this video for this whole 10 minutes, is a type of thinking that is inquired as a result of being aware of this narrative and considering it. You start to oversee everything. You start to overstand everything, and it does a lot of things for you in your psyche. Um, and like I said, everything moves in a timeline. Everything has a cycle about itself. Even things that sit still, it cycles about itself. And this is getting more complex. Can be considered in different aspects of itself. Now, like for example, like it can go through cycles in itself. Like for example, if it's like a fruit that came from a tree and it goes down to the ground because it like yada yada yada, and it goes back and it connects to another cycle. You also got something that doesn't really change on its own physically, but is subjectified to because it's not moving anything. Subjectified to outer outer things. Okay, so um this is like a new engineering science. Now, what makes this an engineering science? Well, when I look at engineering, is like how as a result of me expressing this and you hearing the definition, and we can agree that from what I know, there's nothing else that kind of is kind of having that label. This is engineering because this is engineering. Like, how can you not engineer without thinking in this way? Like, it also has an aspect about itself that deals with just straight analysis, from hypothesis to a theory to anything. Like, everything has a kind of like trajectory about itself that even if somebody was to pass away and move on, they still leave that, and that still is continued by the people that was naturally keep it going or question it or whatever. That whole thing is a wave or a developing of its own self, of whatever that is eventually going to turn into from a starting point. You understand? From whatever it started from, it is turning into something else. So this is a form of engineering for the simple fact that one, anything done up to this point has been considered in that perspective, whether somebody is conscious of it or not. It is still having a type of science and dialogue about itself moving forward, whether that person is dealing with it still or not. Cause and effect. And also, it becomes a form of engineering that, as a result of being aware of this, one can map out and overstand the narratives of nature and get more attuned into it to actually engineer things more, lengthy, more, into a word here. That in its own self, because the last thing I want to end with is saying that we are in our own wave. We're on our own wave that you can even say God, whatever you believe in is overseeing it. Like, so even that narrative to think that we are not, subjectified to like previous thoughts or like, I won't get too in depth. Basically, the idea is that we are acting in a wave just as much as we influence something, we are influenced by things that we don't really necessarily control. Yeah, is in us. And that's how I'm gonna end this, and then it's gonna be a thing. Now I'm gonna end this and do a video right after this about Dr. Sabi. Cross connect with Dr. Sabi. Peace, Yahero Hatap, to all my Ken people, Namaste, to everybody. Peace, love, light, all that good thing. Cool.